Good morning, Coach Devin here from 360 Fit. I just finished 20 minutes of stairs because I don't have access to my cells. I just finished a stair workout, and I wanted to take a minute and talk a little bit about where we are with COVID-19 and banks. I'm not going to talk about fitness. I'm going to talk about small business and tenants, residential tenants right now. So I am a residential tenant. I'm also I sold my house a few years ago, and I live in an apartment with my fiance. Her business is also closed because she owns a hair salon. So both of us are mandated government closed, which means we're not bringing in really income anymore. On the business side of things, both of our businesses have been government mandated to close, and that means that it's very difficult for us to do any work. Some of our clients have been kind enough to go online, but it is very challenging now. The banks in Canada and the politicians heralded on Wednesday or Thursday that they were going to help everybody out. They're going to do a whole bunch of things for people. It's going to be so great. We're going to push mortgages for 6 months and all. They got a lot of publicity and a lot of positive outpouring on that. Facts of the matter is, banks are not doing that commercially at all. What banks are doing commercially is they're saying pay up, which means my landlords understandably are in a boat where they're saying we're not getting a break, so you have to pay, which is pushing it back on the small business side on me, because now I have to pay bills. My fiance has to pay bills and a rent of a space that we aren't allowed to use. Not really very fair. That is directly responsible. The banks are directly responsible for this. On the tenant side of things, again, commercially, the banks aren't interested in doing anything. So my landlord here, and I feel for my landlords because they're in a boat where they're saying, you got to pay. The banks say, you have to pay. Too bad, so sad. So they're coming back to us saying, hey, you got to pay. And then banks are in turn saying, well, why don't you take out a personal loan? Why don't you take out a business loan? That business loan will be great. You can help pay off your landlord. Okay, the problem with that is it's completely ridiculous, because what the banks are hoping I'll do is take out a loan. They're going to make money on that. They're going to make money on their mortgage. And guess who ends up paying? Well, the landlord is stuck. The landlord has to charge me. So the landlord passes the money on to me. The bill goes to me. I have to pay the bill with a loan that I've gotten from a bank, and now the bank is double dipping. Bottom line, what this is Corona, COVID-19, whatever. It's price gouging. The banks have tried it. They got themselves lots of publicity saying, look what we did. We helped everybody out. In reality, they're not helping anybody. They're helping themselves. And I get it. You got to make money. I totally understand. But the problem is right now, if the bank says to me or to any business, okay, bank says, I'm not going to give you a break on your commercial rent. Landlord says, well, in that case, you got to pay the rent. That means the business turns around and says, well, I have to make money. So either the small business loses money, or they pass it on to their client. So how fair is it for the business to have to shoulder that bill? Well, it's not. So then the business is going to turn around and try to pass it off to the client. Well, the business passes it to the client, and the client who doesn't have access to the service is saying, well, that's not fair either. So where does this stop? Well, I can tell you right now, the only way this stops is at the top down. Banks need to say, we are going to freeze things, because if we don't freeze things, the whole thing falls apart. They can't be greedy. They can't price gouge now. They have to play ball with everybody else. They can't say, we're going to make our money and the rest of you, which is exactly what they're doing right now. And then in turn, if the banks give the commercial lenders, the commercial landlords a break, then the commercial landlords can pass that down to their tenants. The tenants then can continue on with their lives, and this will actually work. But you can't make money in a pandemic and say screw everybody else, because either the small business gets screwed or the consumer, the tenant, ends up getting screwed. And if the small business gets screwed, more than 60% of this country works for small businesses. Between me and my fiance, we employ 30 people. So 30 people go out of business, go out of work, because of the fact that the banks want their cash from the landlord, and the landlord has to pass it to me. It's a vicious cycle. And the problem we have right now is, I'm talking to you, Justin Trudeau. I'm talking to you, Stephen McNeil. You guys got to step up. You want to be in a position of power and authority, and you want to be, you want to say, hey, look at all the things I'm doing. Get up and do something. You are going to have to mandate the banks to help. If you don't mandate it, they will never help, because they want to make money. So if they're not mandated to freeze things, nothing will change. And if they pass the bills down, guess what? The small business and the little people get screwed, because of the fact that the banks want their money and then the landlords want their money, and it's a big disaster. So you know what? When you're in a leadership position as a politician, you know what? It's fun and fine and lots of a good time when you're a politician going around shaking hands, kissing babies and looking cool. And you're saying, hey, this is so much fun. But you know what? Sometimes the rubber hits the road and you have to do some work. It's called leadership, guys. Justin Trudeau, it's called leadership. Step up, make a decision, help out the small businesses that employ more than 60% of all the people in Canada. You're gonna have to step up and do something. If your thought process is you're just gonna squeeze a small business for money, that's a terrible idea, because then they will go out of business. If they go out of business, then everybody's screwed. So it starts at the top, and that means it starts with the politicians putting pressure on the banks and all of us putting pressure on the banks. So get out there, share this video, make sure people understand the banks need to be pushed to do this and the politicians need to be forced to do it as well. Stay safe out there, everybody.